Today, we are going to make some cracked earth bases. That sounds exciting, doesn't it? Yes, it is. To begin with, we will take some wood filler and put it in a small cup. It is a lovely cup, isn't it? To that, we add some ink. I am adding brown ink and a little bit of black ink. This is because we will need good contrast on our cracked earth base. You can use whatever color ink you wish. I really don't care. Next, we apply the wood filler mixture onto a base using a spatula type tool. I am using tweezers because I am like MacGyver. I can use anything. We want just a little bit of a raised surface, not too much, but just some uneven areas on the base. For a cracked earth base, we do want it mostly flat and plain. However, a few rocks are necessary, and for that we are using Woodland Scenic Talus. I am sanding one side of the talus, and that will be glued to the base so the rock looks sunken into the base and not awkwardly sitting on top. That would look foolish. We then glue the rocks into place on the base using using super glue. Next, we prime the base using a mixture of black and olive drab primers. This is the colors I choose to use. You do not have to use them yourself, but keep it something dark and cover the bases well. After letting the primer dry overnight, we can begin the cracking process. For that, I am using Citadel technical paint, Agrellan earth. Now, I know what you're thinking. Of course he's using Citadel paints. What else would he use? Well, in fact, I had tried several different products for this. Several craft versions of crackle paint are available, even a trick using white glue. However, I found this Citadel product to work the best for this scale. All you have to do is dabble it on. You want to go very thick with it. The thicker you put it down, the larger the cracks will be. And the thinner cracks will be. However, if you do not put enough down, no cracks will be. Normally, at this point, we would have to wait several hours before moving ahead. But by me using powers that you cannot help to understand, I have sped up the time continuum so you can observe what is happening as it happens. You can see cracks beginning to form in the base. They differ between whether the paint was thickly or thinly applied on different areas of the base. Now, here's where I have to mention the wood filler became so important. Normally, I would use spackle on a base. However, that proved to be too weak in this case, and the cracking paint pulled up the spackle, creating huge cracks in the base that I could not help to contain. The wood filler was a much stronger base and held the cracks in place, but still allowed some movement for larger cracks to form. Because we added dyes, inks to the wood filler, we have a nice good contrast in our cracks. So even if some of the wood filler is pulled up, we still can't see anything underneath. This process can take 3 to 4, maybe even 5 hours. However, I recommend leaving the bases to dry overnight, because even when they seem dry, shrinking is still occurring. Once the base is dry, we could attach our figure. I bet you would attach your figure, but I would not. I have more work to do to improve things. And for that, I am dry brushing on a coat of Iraqi sand from the Vallejo model range. Now, unfortunately, we cannot paint the base because the paint will fill in all those delicate cracks, but we can dry brush very carefully. Some of the paint might come up with the dry brushing, but that is fine. We can work that into the paint scheme later. Next, we apply another highlighting dry brush, this time using Vallejo Model Color Pale Sand. I am trying to concentrate on the cracked areas and the raised areas here. Not painting in the recesses, no, we will leave that for later. To add a little bit of color to our base, and who doesn't like color now, I added a thin glaze of Vallejo Game Color Flesh ink. Very thin, just brushing over the entire base, not letting it pool too much. I just want to add a little bit of color. And then for a little bit more shade on the base, I am using Armypainter Strong Tone mixed with an equal amount of Armypainter Dark Tone. Just blotched on here and there, mostly in the recesses, away from the cracked areas, also around any rocks or debris I decided to add to the base. Next, we paint any rocks and or debris that we earlier glued to the base. I am painting the rocks with Vallejo Model Color Iraqi Sand, and then covering them with the mix of Armypainter Strong and Dark washes. You, once again, can paint your rocks any color you wish. You did add rocks to your base, I hope. Did you? You weren't lazy and added no rocks. Oh, I can't help you. At this stage of painting the base, there may have been one or two small areas where the paint has completely chipped off, leaving exposed the primer or the wood filler underneath. But that is perfectly okay. We shall use this to enhance the beauty of our base. We simply paint in those areas using Vallejo Game Color Dark Fleshtone. At this point in the project, we can attach the miniature to the base. To do this, you must use a combination of pins and glue. Simply using glue alone would not be a good idea because it would not adhere well to the cracked paint. Then we can attach a little bit of grass onto the base using super glue, and in this case, some Citadel Mordheim Turf. And there you have it, our cracked earth base tutorial. I'm certain you learned something because you must learn something in these videos. You don't know much, do you? Well, I'm not going to leave it here. I'm going to actually teach you a little more. As a bonus for you, I decided to play a little bit more with the Citadel Agrellan earth. I painted up a plain plastic base using bright yellow paint, and then covered it in the Agrellan earth, which I mixed with a little bit of red and brown ink. This, I admit, was a little bit of a mistake because by thinning the earth, I reduced the amount of cracks I could get into it. So I would skip this part, but not the next. I then airbrushed black over the Agrellan earth while it was still wet. I know what you're thinking, he must have gone mad, but no, this was all going according to plan. And as you can see, we've created a yellow and black cracked base. Not the best colors, but it's just an experiment in the contrast of what you can do as long as you paint it before the Agrellan earth dries. You can play around with special effects such as this at your leisure. And there we have this article on painting cracked earth bases. I hope you learned something. Well, of course you learned something. I would like to thank Dr. Faust for giving me this opportunity to make this video for you. He's quite a wonderful man, isn't he? Oh, he's so tall and has great hair. Well, perhaps I will see you again. Perhaps if you like this video enough, I shall return. Until then, good day!